I didn't think courage would feel so much like nausea. The church looked the same as it always had that morning. Same narrow parking lot, same chipped white doors, same soft bell that rang 5 minutes before the service started. People stood in little circles outside greeting each other like they had done every Sunday for years. My stepfather was already inside. I saw him through the glass doors as I walked up the steps, third pew from the front, his usual place. Back straight. Suit jacket perfectly pressed. One hand resting on the pew in front of him, like he owned the room without ever needing to say it. My mother sat beside him, smiling at someone across the aisle. If anyone had asked me in that moment, I would have said everything was normal. That was the problem. The folded paper in my hand had begun to soften from sweat. It wasn't dramatic, just a small note, written exactly the way the investigator had instructed. Confirmation delivered. Target present. Service started. Nothing more. Inside the foyer, the wooden bulletin stand sat against the wall, stacked with the week's announcements and prayer requests. People walked past it without thinking. I stood there longer than necessary, pretending to skim the pages. For a moment I almost left. There had been weeks of hesitation already. Weeks of staring at numbers on a laptop screen I shouldn't have opened. Donations routed through charities that didn't exist. Transfers that disappeared and then reappeared somewhere else entirely. At first I thought it was a mistake. Then I thought it was him alone. Then I realized my mother had known. That realization had changed something permanent in me. A woman brushed past me to grab a bulletin, and I slipped the folded note between the stacks. It disappeared instantly. Just another piece of paper in a church full of them. That was it. No alarms. No thunder. Just paper against paper. I took a seat in the back. The choir started the opening hymn a few minutes later. Everyone stood. The same voices filled the sanctuary, echoing off the high wooden ceiling. My stepfather sang like he always did, confidently, one hand on the pew. If he felt anything unusual, he hid it well. I tried not to stare at the back of his head. Instead I focused on the rhythm of the service. Prayer, reading, sermon. The pastor spoke about integrity that morning, not aggressively, just one of those gentle sermons about living honestly even when it costs something. People nodded along the way they always do. I kept thinking about the email I'd received 3 nights earlier. We'll handle it from here. I had expected something dramatic. Sirens maybe, something loud enough to shake the building. But nothing happened. The sermon ended. Another hymn. The quiet rustle of people shifting in their seats. Doubt crept in slowly. Maybe they decided the evidence wasn't enough. Maybe they needed more time. Maybe I had misunderstood everything and dragged strangers into something that would collapse the moment they looked closer. My stomach tightened. Across the sanctuary my mother laughed quietly at something someone whispered to her. She looked relaxed. Completely unafraid. For a second I wondered if I had just destroyed my own family for nothing. Then the pastor invited everyone forward for communion. People stood row by row. My stepfather stood with them. That was when the doors opened. Not violently, just firmly. Several people near the back turned first. Conversations stopped mid-sentence as a group of agents stepped inside wearing dark jackets with bright yellow letters across the back. The sound in the sanctuary changed instantly. It wasn't chaos. It was something stranger, like the air itself had paused. The agents moved with calm efficiency down the aisle. One of them spoke quietly to the pastor near the front, showing identification. Another stopped beside the third pew. My stepfather looked up. For the first time in years, I saw uncertainty on his face. They spoke to him in low voices. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the moment he understood this wasn't a misunderstanding. His shoulders dropped slightly. Across the aisle, my mother had stopped moving entirely. Her expression shifted slowly, not panic, not shock, recognition. Like she had been waiting for this possibility longer than anyone realized. People around them whispered. Someone gasped softly. The communion line dissolved into a cluster of confused bodies. But the agents didn't raise their voices. One of them simply asked my stepfather to step outside with them. He did. The entire church watched him walk down the aisle he had claimed every Sunday for years. No one stopped him. No one defended him. The authority in the room had shifted too clearly for that. My mother remained seated for several seconds after he left. Then another agent approached her. I looked away before I saw what happened next. Outside, the cold air hit my face like a reset button. People were gathering near the steps now, murmuring to each other, trying to piece together something they had never imagined happening here. I stayed near the edge of the parking lot. An unmarked SUV door closed somewhere behind me. I didn't feel victorious. Mostly I felt quiet. For years the truth had been something heavy inside my chest. Something I carried alone, because I wasn't sure anyone would believe it. Now it belonged to someone else. Courts. Investigators. Evidence. The system would decide what came next. I watched the church doors for a while longer. Eventually I left before my mother came outside. Some confrontations didn't need to happen right away. The silence between us would carry enough weight on its own.